What's up, guys? It's Spiral here with the Giants B8 Farmable team video. I'm going to get into this now, and the first thing I want to say is that what I'm going to go over in this video, for those of you who are interested, is I'm going to go over all 5 of the units, how to get them, their purposes in the team, as well as replacements for them if you do have or want to replace them with other units that you have or want. So, first thing I want to say is I know that this dungeon can be really tough for a lot of people, and this dungeon is kind of like a stepping stone. Like, when you're going through giants, it's pretty easy to get from like 1 to 5, and then you might have a little trouble getting to 6, and then a little trouble getting to 7, but then the jump from 7 to 8 is pretty difficult, at least from my personal experience, back when I had trouble with Giants B8. And then the other hard one is to get from B8 to B10, but right now we're on B8. And so I'll start getting into the units now. And I know that this team is going to make it so it's not as hard to jump into B8 after B7. So first unit we have is Beretta, the Fire Sylph. It's a natural 4 that you can get in the Fusion Hexagram. I do recommend getting him if you don't already have him. He's not really my favorite. A lot of people say that he's an amazing natural 4-star. I don't personally, my personal opinion, I don't think he's really that amazing. I do see his use in dungeons and TOA, but I don't think he's amazing. And another thing I wanted to put was you just saw Darian die, and you're probably going to see Shannon die too. Darian and Shannon both have 0 runes on them, so if they die, that's why they died. I'm kind of expecting them to die, and I'm expecting Beretta, Bernard, and Bella to be able to 3-man this. But so anyways, into the next unit. Bernard is the Wind Griffin. He's a natural 3-star that you can get from the Timor Desert. Next unit is Shannon the Wind Pixie. It's a natural 2-star, so Unknown Scroll, Social Summon, Secret Dungeon, however you have to get her, easy to get. And then the next unit is Darian the Light Vagabond, which is dead right now, but you can still see the little icon somewhere on the bottom left of the screen. Darian is a natural 3-star that has a Secret Dungeon on Light Day, so I do recommend you go ahead and get him if you don't already have him. And then the last unit is Bella, the Light Inugami. I'm sure most of you have it or have at least heard of it. It's a natural 3-star that has a Secret Dungeon on Light Day, just like Darian. So if you don't have either of the light units in this team, I do recommend you go ahead and get both of them, even though it might be a little bit of a pain. But that's that. So now getting into the purposes in the team, as well as we'll be able to see here if these 3 are going to be able to 3-man the boss on B8 Giants. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to, but I guess I'm not really completely positive. So first unit here is Beretta, the Fire Sylph. His purpose in the team, he doesn't really have a super distinct purpose in the team other than you're allowed to have 5 people, so you might as well bring 5 people, and he's definitely going to help, but there might be units that might help more. But so the reason he's in the team anyways is because his speed leader skill is really useful for any dungeon in the game, except Necro. And then his turbulence, which is the skill I just used, brings the boss's attack gauge down to 0, which is pretty useful. And then the AoE dots, they're not that useful, but it's better than nothing. And they will help you kill the boss. Like, they'll make your runs a lot faster because this team has no damage dealers unless you consider Darian a damage dealer, which I don't use Darian as that much of it. I don't really use him as a damage dealer personally. But so replacements for Beretta, like I said, is kind of like whatever you really need to fill it in for him. If you have a Verd heal, you could use Verd. If you want another healer, you could do that. If you want a damage dealer, you could do that. If you want another buff stripper, you could do that. Attack gauge decrease, you could do that. It's just kind of whatever you need here. And the next unit is Bernard, the Wind Griffin. He's in the team for 2 reasons, and the first and main reason is the attack speed buff, and the second reason is the attack debuff. So the attack debuff is going to obviously make it so you won't die as easily, and the speed buff is going to make you get more turns, so you can get more heals, you can get more debuffs, you can get more dots, you can get more whatever you need to stay alive. But so replacements for Bernard is anyone that's going to give you good turn advantage, whether it's Vertiheal or whether it's the Fire Garuda or whatever it may be. It's anything that can consistently buff your team's speed or give you turn advantage. So the next unit here is Shannon, who's a unit that I'm not going to recommend you try and replace because she has a lot of use in Giants. And that's because her first skill is glancing hits, which makes your team stay alive a lot easier on the boss. Her second skill does an AoE speed debuff, which will help your team stay alive during the boss. And then your third skill is AoE defense buff, which will help your team stay alive during the boss and everywhere else. But so if you really do want to replace Shannon, I would recommend you replace her with an AoE defense buffer, but I recommend you just use Shannon. The next unit is Darian, the Light Vagabond, who kind of has a similar reason in this team as Beretta, and that being if you get to use 5 units, you might as well bring 5 units. And so, because he doesn't have any specific purposes, but his second skill is useful. His second skill does an attack debuff, so if your Bernard doesn't land his attack debuff, you have a second chance of your Darian to land it. And then Darian's passive will make it so your whole team gets less damage except Darian himself, but I recommend running him triple HP, so he should be staying alive anyways. And then, so that's Darian. Replacements for him is same replacement as Beretta, just whatever you need, whether it's a Verd or whether it's another buff stripper or whether it's another attack buff debuffer or a damage or whatever it may be, you could probably replace it for Darian or another healer. Whatever you need. And then the last unit is Bella, who I don't recommend trying to replace or recommend trying to I never really recommend trying to replace Bella because she's really good and you can use her everywhere. But Bella's purpose in the team is the buff strip to strip the attack buff off the boss, as well as the only healer in this team. So if you really do want to replace Bella, and a good healer can replace Bella, but I do recommend you just go ahead and use Bella. That's really all I have for this video though today, guys. So be sure to tell us in the comments if there's any other dungeons you're having trouble with, and me and my brother will try our best to make a video on it in the near future. And that's all for today though, guys. So may the best of your days be the worst of your tomorrows.